Big news on the financial front. A massive overhaul of Nigeria's tax system is here, and it's set to kick off in 2025. Now, this isn't just about a few minor tweaks. We're talking about a complete rewrite that's going to affect your personal finances, your paychecks, and your business. So, we're going to break down exactly what this huge bill means for you.
And I'm not exaggerating when I say entire system. This is probably the biggest change to Nigerian tax law in decades. You see, this bill takes dozens of separate, often really complicated tax laws and merges them all into one single unified act. The government's goal? Well, it's pretty simple, to make things way clearer for everyone.
So first things first, let's get a handle on just how big of a deal this is. Let's look at how the government is trying to simplify the whole system.
Okay, so the official name is the Nigeria Tax Act 2025, and it's designed to be the one-stop shop, the single source of truth for all things tax. Its main job is to get rid of that old patchwork of laws and replace it with one comprehensive act that covers everything from the tax on your salary to the VAT on your shopping.
Just think about the sheer scale of this for a second. Major laws like the Personal Income Tax Act, the Companies Income Tax Act, and yep, the VAT Act too. They're all being rolled into this one new bill. It's a huge step toward making the tax code something you can actually understand without a team of lawyers.
All right, enough of the legal jargon. Let's get to the important part. What does all of this mean for everyday Nigerians? How is this new law actually going to affect your wallet and your monthly paycheck?
Here's one of the biggest changes you'll feel directly. The old system, the Consolidated Relief Allowance, or CRA, is gone. You know, the one that gave everyone a standard deduction plus a percentage of their income. It's being eliminated. And in its place, the bill is bringing in a new, much more specific rent relief, which makes sense, since rent is one of the biggest expenses for so many households.
So you're probably wondering, how does this new rent relief actually work? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You can claim 20% of your annual rent as a tax-deductible expense. But, and this is important, there's a cap. The absolute maximum you can claim is 500,000 naira a year. So, the taxman will give you whichever is lower, 20% of your rent or that 500,000 naira cap.
All right, now for the new tax brackets. And the biggest news is right there at the top. The first 800,000 naira you earn in a year is now completely tax-free, 0%. This is a really significant change that should directly boost the disposable income of millions of Nigerians, especially if you're a lower or middle-income earner. Okay, we've covered personal tax, but what if you're an entrepreneur, a startup founder, a small business owner? Well, you're going to want to listen up, because this bill introduces some absolute game changers that you need to know about. But before we get into all the great benefits, we have to ask the most important question first. How does the government actually define a small business under this new law? Because, that definition is the key that unlocks all the tax implications.
And the answer is a very big deal. The turnover threshold to qualify as a small company has been doubled. It's gone from 25 million naira up to 50 million naira. This is a huge expansion, and it means a lot more businesses are now going to be classified as small and can start taking advantage of the new tax benefits. And here it is. This is the single biggest takeaway for all you small business owners out there. If your company's annual turnover is under that new 50 million naira threshold, your profits are now completely exempt from companies' income tax. That's right, tax-free. This is a massive incentive designed to help small businesses grow and pour that money back into their operations.
So, we've seen the impact on individuals and small businesses. But let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. This bill isn't just about what's happening right now, it's laying out a long-term blueprint for the future of tax in Nigeria. One of the biggest long-term changes you'll notice is a planned, gradual increase in value-added tax, or VAT. It's going to move from the current 7.5% up to 10% in 2025. Then it'll climb to 12.5% and finally settle at 15% by 2030. This slow and steady increase is designed to boost government revenue over time, without causing a sudden shock to your wallet.
And it's not just about what's happening inside Nigeria. This bill also looks outward, bringing the country in line with new global tax standards, especially when it comes to the big multinational companies. It introduces a new 15% minimum effective tax rate for them, making sure they pay a fair share of tax on the income they generate here.
Whew, that was a lot, right? So let's boil it all down. What are the key takeaways? First, simplification. Dozens of confusing tax laws are now just one. Second, for you personally, a new 800,000 naira tax-free bracket and a new rent-based relief system. Third, for small businesses, that tax exemption threshold has doubled to 50 million naira in turnover. And finally, looking ahead, get ready for VAT to rise slowly over the next few years.
So when you step back and look at the whole thing, the vision is pretty clear. A simpler, fairer, and more modern tax system. The framework is in place. The ideas are on paper. But the question that remains, the really big question, is this. In the long run, will it truly deliver on that promise for everyday Nigerians and their businesses?